We're doing something a little different this morning, and I have some test prints that I've done for the OT group at the University of Missouri to see if these could be added to their catalog for their ALS Foundation work. So I've got a couple of things, and I'm going to give these a critique. Now, if you've designed these, this is not meant to be negative. First off, I want to thank you for designing these things. I know how much time it takes. But I wanted to give my feedback on some of it so that we could help hopefully improve the process and speed things up. So we have a couple of different devices here. Let's start with this pink one. The pink one is the for doing eye drops. So the whole idea is you take some chopsticks, and I only have a single chopstick here, but you're supposed to take a set of two unbroken and put them in here and put them in here. You kind of sit this on your head and then you squeeze it with the chopstick. Okay, so here's my thoughts on this. First off, I don't think this needs to be printed in TPU. This is TPU. It's pretty monolithic, so it's pretty solid. I guess there's a little bit of wiggle room there to put in the chopstick, but the actual motion is all the piece of wood moving. So I don't really know if that needs to be TPU. I printed it this way, upright, so that the holes are upright. There is a lot of extra material here. I would probably carve out at least the center point here, maybe a little bit in here, to save material costs and weight. I don't. It's moderately heavy in TPU. I haven't weighed it, but other than that, it's an interesting idea, and I like the idea of the chopsticks because they're disposable and they get dirty. You just throw them out. So that's that device. The next one is what's this called? A zipper pull. So this zipper pull is set up so that you can put I don't have a small paper clip, but you slip a small paper clip inside of it, and you have this attached to your jacket or whatnot, using that paper clip as the clip. This one took about 18 minutes to print. And when I do these timings, they're all cold starts. So it's from a cold bed, cold hot end. So 18 minutes on my Prusa. The model comes in lying flat. I printed it so that it's upright like that because it has the slot, and maybe and if you're printing it flat, you'd have to do supports inside, which will be impossible to get out. And as you know, I hate supports. I will do anything I can to avoid supports and to avoid post-processing cleanup. So I printed it this way. It takes a little bit longer to print, but it came out completely clean. It's a little dark here because I was switching filament colors. My thought on this, it needs to be bigger, and it needs to have some sort of grippy points on here. It's way too smooth in my opinion. I would be annoyed by this. But though it prints fast, since it does print fast, you could do multiple on your print bed at the same time. I would say to print these sequentially, and so it builds one, moves over a little bit, builds another, moves over a little bit. I could probably, and most of it, this is I think under 20 millimeters, so I could probably have a ton of these on a bed at once. But I do sequentially for a reason. So I do one, finish it up, do the next, finish it up, because I don't want to lay down like 20 of these and see that two or three of them start failing and then the whole batch is bad. Sequentially avoids that problem, and it really doesn't take that much more time. In fact, I think it takes less time. Okay, so that's that. So I think these should be bigger, and I think they need a grippier surface. The next up, let's see, I had to pull out a nice can of Chef Boyardee ravioli. Delicious. So this is for lifting tabs so that you could kind of go like that and help lift the tab up. This is another one where the design comes in like this, but because of that bridging, I printed it upright. Takes a little bit longer. This one took 58 minutes. Oh, I should say these are right now getting printed with my medium resolution at 30% infill. Though infill really is an issue with this because it's pretty much solid. This, I don't, at first I thought it was going to be really way too flimsy, but it's okay. I have a concern about the thickness here. It's probably going to break. The little slot here is for slipping in a magnet. I would not do that. I would remove that from the model. The simpler solution, I feel, is to put on this side some little countersinks and use like a 10 millimeter diameter, maybe by a 2 millimeter thickness magnet. That's what it's for, is for holding magnets. This is way more complicated than it needs to be, and it's going to slow down the print time. So that's how I would modify this one. Maybe make this part a little bit thicker, but it's a kind of, you need that one part thin enough so that you could slip it in. And I'm not going to crank this open because I'm not in the mood for eating Chef Boyardee so early in the morning. So I think this is a good one to print. Again, 58 minutes on that one. Next up, medical bottle opener. There were a couple of different designs. This looked like to be pretty much the final design for this person. And this is for opening pill bottles. Now, before you get too excited about privacy and everything, this is all blood pressure medicine, so good luck with that. That's all I gotta say. So the idea is to put the unit here and twist it or turn it. I have not had any luck with this one. Now this one, let's see. I did print this fast because it was thick and used a lot of material, and it's got 15% infill. But the little grippy things in here are just, I don't know, they aren't gripping. I think this needs to be revisited. I think it's kind of too bulky in some ways and not bulky enough in other. I feel that the handle should be longer, but it doesn't have to be, maybe not quite so thick. It's about 15 millimeters, almost 20 millimeters tall. And again, it takes 2 hours to print, and I was hoping that it would work. This is the first time I've tested it, but it is not working. And the other thing with pill bottles that's really tough is that there are so many different cap designs. Now, recently my HEB, which is our local grocery store pharmacy, has pretty much been consistent with these tops. But I go through a lot of pills, so I have seen probably at least half a dozen different designs and sizes. I never seem to get the same one twice, but this has been more consistent recently. So this is unfortunate because I thought this was going to be cool. It's just there's not enough grippiness. I think they went a little too crazy with their design tool to make things smooth and cool looking, and kind of the form versus function kind of fell apart there. Oh well, we'll revisit that one. Good idea though. It's something that's needed. It's also a thing, I think there's probably plenty of commercial options out there. I haven't checked though. Oh, and then the last up today is our good friend the nail cutter. This is, what is this one called? This is the Flipper Clipper. This was printed in medium resolution. I bumped up the infill because they were recommended it. They said close to 100%. I set it at 50 and it printed fine. This takes 2 hours and 17 minutes to print on the Prusa, so 137 minutes. And so the idea here is that it pops open like that. And then, let's see, I got some nail clippers here. You take a nail clipper and you fit it in here somehow. But okay, here's my problem with this. Well, first, I don't know how to fit it in. I got to look at the screenshots. But I believe it's very dependent on the size of your nail clipper. So, like if I was going to make this a production device, I would buy a whole bunch of nail clippers. And then, reminds me I need to clean my nails, a whole bunch of nail clippers, and then update the model to fit those clippers and sell it as a set or give it away as a set. Otherwise, you're going to be dealing with, well, my clipper doesn't fit. This is all print in place. I had done a test print of this a couple of months ago, and it came out horribly. But this one came out really pretty good. And if I didn't mention it, these are all in PLA. These are just leftover PLA that I have floating around. I would normally print in PETG. But let's see, one thing you want to look at, this is Ron's helpful tip, and I don't know if it's available in other slicers. It's not in the slicer that I use. I use Simplify 3D. But what I found is orientation can make a big difference on timing. Even stuff that's on the flatbed like this. Like there are parts where I have, if you align them like this and I print them versus putting it at a 45-degree angle, I've noticed up to 20%, 25% time reduction just by rotating it. For whatever reason, it's more efficient to draw the lines, or who knows, but I haven't done that much research into it. But I have found that often rotating a part like this will save time. If they don't do it already, what I would love for slicers to do is to automatically like orient it in a number of ways and tell me what the best way to orient it is. That would be cool, but that's for another day. All right, so that's the fun for this. This guy printed out fine. I think it's plenty strong. The only issue I have is you're going to have to be careful with sizing, and I got to figure out how to do it. But again, I printed this out previously, and it was a disaster. This one was completely clean. Make sure you have good bed adhesion. That's what I recommend here. This guy I was really hopeful for, but it was a disappointment. But I think it's worth revisiting. I'm going to go and take a look at some of his earlier designs. This, I thought it was going to be a problem, but it seems to be okay. Maybe a little more strengthening, maybe a little nice to have on the magnet side, but other than that. And the eyedropper one, I think it's a good part, and but I'm not really sure if it needs to be TPU. So there we go. That's what's happening in batch number 1. Thanks for watching.